All right, shalom, shalom. I just want to do just something that's in my spirit. It's called wisdom. I mean, mercy is my best friend. Salakia. Mercy is my best friend. So before I get started, I'm facing east, giving all honor, glory, and praises to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Hamashiach. Hey, shalom to the remnant, shalom to the elect. It's just something quick that's on my spirit. Um, Yeah, man. Mercy is my best friend. I was just thinking in the spirit. I was watching the brother's video, and the spirit was kind of like, um, the spirit was, showing me something. So I'm gonna start in Sirach 28. All right, this is Sirach 28 and verse 1. He that revengeth shall find vengeance from the Adawan. So, man, we don't want to have vengeance. Like I said, mercy is my best friend. It's like code language, if you will. You know that you know because Yahweh is merciful, and Yahweh Shai is merciful, and He came lowly. So we want to make sure that, like, especially in a time of affliction, that we're being merciful. All right, we don't want to be hard-hearted, stony-hearted, if you will. Shalom to my brothers Habak Shana and my brother Ashrakah, Yahweh, Bahashim, Mashiach, Yahweh Shai, Barakatah, and Barakim Tamyati in your household. Yeah, man, the Lord was just showing me something through the spirit, and we got to remember mercy, because that's like a cheat code. That's like it's one of our best tools, having mercy, giving alms, charity. All right. This is Sirach 28 and 1. He that revengeth shall find vengeance from the Adawan, and he will surely keep his sins in remembrance. So if we're being vengeful, or we're being having any type of, because we all deal with this. If we're all gonna be honest with ourselves, sometimes we be like, you know, looking like that, and it's just been in my spirit lately that those that are doing the work in that spirit of Yahweh Shai and Mashiach, they might go off on this or go off on that. We still want to be merciful, because they're doing it for Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. Sirach 28 and verse 2, forgive thy neighbor the hurt that he has done also. Salakia, forgive thy neighbor the hurt that he hath done unto thee. So shall thy sins be forgiven when thou prayest. So we want to forgive our neighbors the hurt that we think they're doing us, or they're not being righteous, or whatever. Lean not on our own understanding, but trust in Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Yahweh, the Heavenly Father, which means He exists, and His Son, Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, which means Yahweh Shai means He delivers, He saves. This is somebody merciful, okay? Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, Mashiach meaning the Messiah, the Anointed One. Forgive thy neighbor the hurt that he hath done unto thee, so shall thy sins be forgiven when thou prayest. So, man, you might be going through some type of affliction. And when you're going through affliction and you remember mercy, hey, that's like, that's like a kid. I remember the movie Rush Hour, and Chris Rock and Jackie Chan, right? And he was like, my daddy this, my daddy that, my daddy will beat your daddy, right? That's pride, because we know that our Father Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, they're merciful. All right, we're gonna get to that, and we don't want to be proud because we know that this is our Father, because He says that pride is detestable to Him. He's not proud, So I'm gonna read this again, Sirach 28 and 2. Forgive thy neighbor the hurt that he have done unto thee, so shall thy sins also be forgiven when thou prayest. One man beareth hatred against another, and doth he seek pardon from the Lord? So one man got, some ought in his heart against another brother, and you expect to be pardoned. So like that one child, oh yeah, my daddy, my daddy will beat your daddy butt, being proud. Hold on. Hey, No, I don't like that. Do what you're gonna do to him. You know, I mean, in so many words, if you could get what I'm saying. It says, verse 4, it says, he showeth no mercy to a man which is like himself. And doth he ask forgiveness his own sins? Or so, you asking forgiveness of your own sins, but you holding something hostile in your heart, you having a stony heart, you being hard-hearted. Because this is the things of the world. Think about the dudes that's in the world, these gangbangers and all that. They be like, oh yeah, I ain't forget. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get my get back. They killed my cousin, they killed my uncle, or they killed my homie, right? All of this and all of that. All right, think about the things that we done against Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai. Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai. We sinned against the Heavenly Father and His one and only begotten Son. So having no mercy is going to be afflicting your own soul. You're going to be doing your own soul wrong by not being merciful. So I'm saying mercy is my best friend because, hey, when you're going through times of affliction or whatever you're going through, you want to be merciful. Or you might see something you don't like. Oh, this dude, look, he got this going on. Oh yeah, man. You judging him, right? You're gonna be judged according to that same mindset, that same state of mind. Ecclesiasticus, known as the book of Sirach in the King James Bible, chapter 28 and verse 4, he showeth no mercy to a man which is like himself, and doth he ask forgiveness of his own sins? It says, if he that is but flesh nourish hate. Hey, if you're just simply a mortal man and you keeping hate in your heart, you're nourishing, you're feeding hate. You're feeding into hate. Nourish hatred. Who will entreat pardon of his sins? So who's gonna entreat for pardon of his sins? Who's gonna be like, reading the King James Bible, in the 1611 King James Bible, they had this book called the Apocrypha. I mean, I have a 1611 with it in it, but it's not. It's actually it's outside right now. But this is the Apocrypha, the King James Version Apocrypha, the 1611 King James Bible. If you get one, you'll see that these books are included. Books like Esdras, Second Esdras, Tobit, Judith, the rest of Esther, Wisdom of Solomon, Ecclesiasticus, Baruch, the Bell of Dragon, the History of Susanna, the Prayer of Manasseh, and the Book of the Maccabees, First Maccabees, Second Maccabees, and so forth. But this is Ecclesiasticus 28 and verse 6. Remember thy end and let enmity cease. So we got to remember our own end, and we got to let enmity cease with us because we're hoping for mercy. All right. It says, remember corruption and death and abide in the commandments. So we gotta abide in the commandments, like it says in Leviticus chapter 19, starting at verse 15, or verse 17. Let me get it real quick. Leviticus, Salakit, which means forgive me. It's always better to just read the precept instead of quoting it, trying to sound smart and stuff. This is Leviticus chapter 19 and verse 17. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart, which heart means la'ab in Hebrew. And when the definition of la'ab is mind, it says thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor and not suffer sin upon him. So you just tell them and you don't hold no hatred in your heart against them. So back in Ecclesiasticus, Sirach chapter 28 and verse 7, remember the commandments and bear no malice to thy neighbor. Remember the covenant of the highest and wink at ignorance. So we're supposed to wink at ignorance. Yep. This is James chapter 5 and verse 8 from the Malak Habak Shana. Be ye also patient. Establish your hearts, for the coming of the Adawan draweth nigh. So the coming of the Lord, it's drawing nigh. It's coming closer. So the more that it's coming closer, we got to remember mercy. Because like I said, this is just a secret. I'm sharing it with brothers and sisters through the Spirit because the Lord put it on my spirit to let me realize that's what, that's something that's like something that the Lord blessed me with, and that the Lord might bless you with something like that as well, and you'll be merciful too. And especially in this time, we're coming into Jacob's trouble and the hour of temptation, the famine of the word, you know. And so we just wanna remember mercy. All right, life and death is on the line actually, and that comes with the abundance of our heart and what we speak. So we want to speak life, especially to the children of Israel or those that believe, and they may not believe like how I believe, but I still got to have mercy toward them, because they believe, you know. All right. So James chapter 5 and verse 9, grudge not one against another, brethren, lest ye be condemned. So we're not supposed to hold something against another, or we're going to be condemned in that same manner. It says, behold, look at this. The judge standeth before the door. So Yahweh, in the name of his one and only begotten son, Yahweh Shah, he's watching. So, we got some of these people that say they believe and they doing this and they doing that. You're like, man, this person don't believe. We still got to be merciful towards them. And if you're a fisher of men, you're gonna still be tugging. You're gonna still be trying to reel them into wisdom. So let me get this in chapter 35, Ecclesiasticus, known as the book of Sirach, chapter 35, and verse, I'll get straight to the point, verse 20. It says, mercy is seasonable in time of affliction. So, hey, mercy, hey, that's seasonable. Hold on. You in a time of affliction? Okay, hey, mercy is going to keep you alive. Mercy is going to be like a cheat code. They use a cheat code for a video game. All right. Hey, mercy is going to be like a cheat code. It says, mercy is seasonable in the time of affliction as clouds of rain in the time of drought. Who's to say the Heavenly Father don't make the lockdown happen tomorrow and it's still the summer? We still got about 15 days, 14 days left for the summer, right? And who's to say we don't be out here, run on the run for our lives, tomorrow, and we gotta, go run to the wilderness or wherever, because they come in, they got the military set up and stuff. It could happen, and as clouds of rain in the time of a drought, you out there running, you trying to get to the nearest mountain, you ain't got no water, you know, uh, and so you got to remember mercy, because in that time when it does come to Jacob's trouble like that the height of Jacob's trouble and the hour of temptation, or when they try to enforce us to take the microchip, and we got to run and hide and depend on the Lord to hide us from the enemy. Okay, we're gonna be like, dang, I should have been more merciful towards this person. I should have been more merciful towards that person, right? Mercy is seasonable in time of affliction, as clouds of rain in the time of a drought. You ain't got no water. You out here running. It's just on your spirit. The Lord got you running, and you ain't got no water. But if you remember all the mercy you had, because Yahweh, the Heavenly Father, and His one and only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, they remember mercy and they're merciful. All right. Salakia real quick. Yeah. Okay, the water Malak. Yep. So mercy is seasonable in the time of affliction as clouds of rain in the time of a drought. So in the time of a drought, you ain't got no water, and here comes clouds to come water and replenish everything and make the tomatoes grow and the herbs and the vegetables, right? And feed the flock, right? That cloud got what? Water, all right, to replenish everything. So, hey, if you having mercy as your best friend and remembering mercy, the Heavenly Father's he gonna keep you rich in the spirit, man, because that's how Yahweh Shai Mashiach was. So I'm gonna skip those precepts that I have with that and get to that, but let me get Tobit chapter 4, Salakia. Salakia. Just bear with me. Where you at? This is the book of Tobit, chapter 4. All right. And This is Tobit. This is Tobit talking to his son. You know, and if you haven't read the book of Tobit, I would advise you to, read it like a book, and then, continue, to, read precept upon precept, and you'll get more understanding. But this is Tobit talking to his son before he sent them out to go bust a mission through the Spirit, and we out here busting a mission, okay? And this is what he's telling them. I'm gonna start in Tobit chapter 4 and verse 4. He said, "Remember, my son, that she saw many dangers for thee when thou wast in her womb, and when she is dead, bury her by me in one grave. My son, be mindful of the Lord our power all thy days, and let not thy will be set to sin." All right, so we got to have mercy, and we don't want our will to be set to sin. If he's saying, grudge not your neighbor, if he's saying, hold not a grudge in Leviticus 19, it says, or to transgress his commandments. These are his commandments. He said, do upright all thy life long, and follow not the ways of unrighteousness. Because a lot of people hold grudges. That's things of the world. You got these gangbangers, and you got these quote unquote niggas, young YNs, right? They out here, they don't forgive nothing. They out there like, oh yeah, you did this when we was in high school. You 30-something years old, gangbanging. 40 years old, gangbanging, remembering something from high school. Or the Heavenly Father, that's not how the Heavenly Father or his one and only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, that's not how they operate. It says, do uprightly all thy life long. So we got to continue and endure unto the end, and follow not the ways of unrighteousness. For if thou deal truly, so we got to deal truly. All right, according to the truth, we got to deal truth. According to truth, let me get this real quick. This is John chapter 4. John chapter 4, because we're in the flesh, man. We're gonna think like that sometimes. Like, man, I remember what you said, or I remember what you did, right? This is John 4 and 24, 4 and 23. It says, but the hour cometh, and now is, when the true worshipers shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth. So we got to worship him in spirit and in truth. This is truthfully what it says in here, and we truthfully got to get with that. For the Father seeketh such to worship him. So that's who he wants to worship him. Someone that's like that, that's merciful like him. He said, hey, they made us in the image of them. Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai. It said God is a spirit. Yahweh Shai said God is a spirit. The Most High is a spirit. And they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. So we got to be in the spirit to actually perform this, truth according to the truth. So Tobit chapter 4 and the latter part of verse 5, he said, do uprightly all thy life long, and follow not the ways of unrighteousness. For if thou deal truly, thy doing shall prosper. Thy doing shall prosperously succeed to thee. So if you do deal truly, your doings are going to prosperously succeed to thee, and to all them that live justly. He said, give alms of thy substance, and when thou givest alms, let not thy eye be envious. So when you forgive a brother, don't still be having in the back of your heart like, man, I forgave this brother, still side eyeing them. It says, neither turn thy face from any poor. See, anyone that's poor and needy and seek Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, we can't turn our face from them. All right. And I don't know if I said shalom to everyone, but hey, shalom to the brother Shah Yakan, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, Mashiach Brakatah, and Brakim Tam Yah to you and your household. All right. Turn not thy face, neither turn thy face from any poor. All right. These poor are the needy, those that seek after the Heavenly Father and his one and only begotten Son. And the face of the Most High shall not be turned away from thee. So if you turn away your face from like, he's seeking after Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, he got a zeal for the Lord and he's worshiping, man, forget him, man. I've been doing this for 25 years. Or, oh man, this dude, he did this to me. Oh man, they shot my cousin. We still gotta have it in our hearts. It's a tool, man. We gotta have it in our hearts to be, know that revenge It's not of us. Venging ourselves. Vengeance is of the Lord. All right, so I'm gonna read the brother's precepts, and then I'll get these. This is this is Galatians 5:22. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long suffering, gentleness, faith, and they that are Hamashiachs have crucified the flesh. See, the flesh wants to be like these street dudes, these YNs out here. Oh, I seen a video on TikTok of this dude. I think brother had put something in the chat, and I looked at the page on TikTok. You got this dude out there talking about, we finna do this and we gonna do that. I wish y'all would come to Chicago, and or when y'all come, y'all racist mother effers and all this. Like, hey man, that's not but 2/3 they're gonna do that. But that's not the spirit that we're supposed to be in, those that are seeking after the Heavenly Father and His one and only begotten Son. All right, we're not finna do nothing. We're gonna trust in the Heavenly Father, we're gonna have mercy, and we're not warring after the flesh. We're warring after the spirit. So let me get this in James. So that's worldly, man, to say you gonna get revenge. The Lord gonna get revenge. I forgive you because this is what the humble son is gonna do. The proud son, he got 10 kids, he got 12 kids, right? It's gonna be a proud one, and it's gonna be a humble one. The proud kid over here doing damage out here. You know what I'm saying? He out here doing damage, and he's saying, yeah, and he trying to use his daddy to back him up for that damage he's doing. Oh, yeah, how about Shem Yamashai doing damage? Then you got that humble son with humility. He's out there, and he's just delivering a message, and they're just attacking him, and they're trying to destroy him, and they kill him. So which one the Heavenly Father finna move for? He gonna move for that son that's out here acting all proud and saying, in the name of my daddy, in the name of my father, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, right? Or he gonna follow that? He gonna react for that son that out there came lowly, man. So we got to come lowly, man, and we got to be merciful. This is James chapter 2 and verse 13. It says, for he shall have judgment without. Let me read verse 12. Yep, James 2:12. So speak ye, and so do. Yeah, man, don't be just a hearer of the word, but be a doer also. So speak ye and do so, as they that shall be judged by the law of liberty, for he shall have judgment without mercy that have showed no mercy, and mercy rejoiceth against judgment. So, hey, it's better to have mercy as your best friend and run straight to judgment. Run straight to mercy rather than a judgment. All right, because we're gonna be judged according to that same thing, having no mercy. We don't even know the whole matter. So we gotta continue with that mercy, because it's likelier for you to be right having mercy than for you to come into judgment. Having an evil eye, and it overthrows your judgment. All right, Matthew 5:7, of course. Matthew chapter 5 and verse 7. It says, blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. This is Luke. And Salakia, man, I'm just humbly speaking this. I don't mean to come off prideful. I'm just thankful that the Lord had revealed this to me. Luke chapter 6 and verse 36. Be ye therefore merciful, as your Father also is merciful. So we got to be merciful, just like Yahweh is also merciful. This is Yahweh Shai saying this. It says, judge not, and ye shall not be judged. Yahweh Shai HaMashiach said this. It says, condemn not, and ye shall not be condemned. Forgive, and ye shall be forgiven. So we got to forgive so we could be forgiven, man. We got to judge not so we don't be judged. All right? So let me finish the brother's precepts. Galatians 5:24, and they that are Hamashiachs have crucified the flesh with the affections and lusts. If we live in the Spirit, let us also walk in the Spirit. Let us not be desirous of vainglory, provoking one another, envying one another. So man, we gotta come with humility. Let me put that one you put the other day, Malak, Micah 6 and 8. I think that's what you had got. Yep. Micah 6 and 8. It says, he have showed thee, O man, what is good, and what doth the Yahweh in the name of Yahweh shall require of thee. See, this is what he requires of us. But to do justly and to love mercy. So we got to love mercy and do justly and to walk humbly with thy power. So yeah, man, Lord willing, that was edifying, exhorting, and comforting. That was on my spirit. Through the spirit, the Lord revealing some things to me. And I, freely have you receive, man, freely give. So, I just struck while the iron was hot. So I'm going to end by giving all honor, glory, and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Shalom to the remnant, shalom to the elect. I hope this epistle finds you in peace.